Hello. Hair is long as fuck. It's officially pure lockdown times here with the Delta variant. Just destroying Thailand at the moment. So it's all good. My hair and beard's long as shit. But wanted to do a video today to pretty much talk about what's happening in crypto right now over the last few days. Obviously, basically the last week has we've seen some really positive um, price action. And unfortunately, I couldn't do a video over the last few days because I've actually been away from Bangkok, trying to escape the Delta variant crap that's been going on here. I'm back now for a bit, though I'm planning to leave again. Though when I leave again, I'll hopefully be doing some videos, try to do regular videos while I'm away, at least one every 1 or 2 days, just so that we can keep up with everything that's going on in crypto right now. Because finally, I'm happy to say that finally, price action is starting to look a lot more interesting now in crypto. And it's not just because we're back towards the 40,000 mark and we've just had this positive price action. But I'm going to go through a little bit more about why this time I'm a little bit more optimistic than, for example, the last time, right? Which was about, basically about a month and so ago where we actually tested 40,000 once. But this time I'm definitely a little bit more optimistic and I'll give my reasons why. So right now we're looking at the day chart, and if we just actually zoom out a little bit and observe this, from a more, let's say, rational standpoint and not like this standpoint of, oh, we've just had like this 1 week of really positive price action. Now everybody's all happy again. Um, we can actually see that we're still just going sideways. I mean, the market's still sideways and generally it's still pretty downtrendy. Okay. So I don't want to sound like a party pooper, but in reality, when we zoom out, it doesn't still look that great, but admittedly, now there are some more positive signs that we saw recently over the last couple of days. The first thing is that we've now clearly broken down through this downtrend here that we were forming at this previously, right? We smashed right through that after the last time that we broke through the $30,000 price level, right, or the price range. And at that time, it really looked like we could be going through um, a period of further downtrend. I was talking about the $1 trillion market cap, but all of a sudden around, yeah, the $29,000 mark again, we saw like finally actually saw slightly more volume than we've seen in quite some time. If you're looking at the day chart here, which kind of gave that initial kind of rally. And then once we actually reached this downtrend line, we kind of smashed through it. And we actually had this one day here, in particular yesterday, or that previous like 48-hour um, window, where we actually saw some of the highest volume that we've seen in some time. And obviously everybody was asking what was kind of happening here, what was kind of happening here, what was kind of happening here. And I think honestly what we could probably see just based off the price action, given how we had this huge long wick up to the 40,000, right, exactly to the previous top, right? It was pretty clear that there was probably some form of short squeeze here. At least this is my take on it. There was some short form of short squeeze where some big buyer came in, kind of just blew through the order book. Probably some people got liquidated trying to short Bitcoin here, like they wanted to get in at these levels. They had sell limits placed, and they just got blown through, and that's why we saw this volume here. That's probably what I think it is. I ain't seen anything else that would really suggest as to why we saw this kind of small burst in volume here. But anyway, um, yeah, so now based off that, we're kind of trending towards this upwards direction, and we are approaching, we got heavily rejected, of course, at the $41,000 mark, which is really the key level that we want to break through and hold above if we want to officially call us back more into a bullish momentum, at least for me. And really also to see a close above the 200-day here, which typically on the daily chart has always proven to be like a pretty strong either support for a more bullish trend and continuation, or a pretty strong resistance when it's going to and when basically the market is trying to show us that we want to trend further downwards. So we're definitely at a critical point here. And I think the key thing, though, for me more than anything that was really, really positive to see and why I'm a bit more optimistic this time overall is just because of how we finally did break through this downtrend. That was definitely a pretty strong breakthrough. I mean, we previously had it here, but at that time, yeah, at that time we hadn't, tested this $30,000 mark. It was clear that had just gone through this massive downtrend or dump, and it was kind of like it was it was it was kind of more like something like it was like a mini relief rally, and we just got rejected there really badly. So I was just not nearly as optimistic then. But now that we've had this, consistent period throughout the summer, right? And I've always been talking about the summer, how summers tend to get quiet. But now that we're approaching slowly towards the end of the summer, so obviously we still have 1 month, but we're getting there. And we've had so many now successful bounces off 30,000, and we broke through this downtrend. If we look at the 4-hour chart, it was really, really clear to see at one point over the last few days when we got that initial bounce back up. When we broke through this downtrend, it was really, really nice to see, right? The price action here. Let me just point this out. We first had this nice green candle which broke through the downtrend and even got us above the 200 line on the 4-hour. And we actually then, apart from that, saw this period of kind of consolidation here, right, above that level, in between that 34,000 price range, which has proven to be pretty strong support and resistance when we've kind of been in this sideways market here. So that was really, really nice to see before we got that really, really strong breakout towards the 40,000 mark. And now, not only did we get that, and we got that kind of, pull back a bit, and now again, it seems like we're consolidating now above the 20, the 21 4-hour mark, right? So that's also really, really positive um, to see this kind of price action, this kind of stepping price action where we're kind of consolidating a bit and going above, consolidating a bit and going above, and so forth. Meanwhile, if we look at the last time that we got close towards 40,000, right over here, we didn't really see that kind of price action that we're getting right now. Um, and in fact, it was just kind of, you could see that like we were already trending downwards, and like it was kind of like more like a relief rally before we wanted to trend down more, right? We didn't see any sort of consolidation here. We didn't see any of this kind of stepping price action, right? Especially once we got to 40,000. So right now, this time, admittedly, the price action is definitely looking a lot healthier. And um, I'm not saying that I'm now going to like all of a sudden flip 100% on my overall stance on the market in terms of us being, bullish or bearish or whatever. I'm still pretty bearish on the market in the sense that like I'm not trying to, for example, buy Bitcoin right now, at least. You know, and I'm still kind of bearish overall in the overall crypto market. Like I'm not confident that we're actually going to get a break above 41,000 this time, or if we're going to even get above this 200-day here. But at the same time, as I've mentioned before, the longer that we stay in this sideways market here, and the longer that we continue to get kind of good bounces and we start building like more positive momentum in the market, the more bullish that I'm also just going to become, especially given that I've kind of already taken the stance that now I want to start dollar cost averaging into ETH, just because I feel like we've been at this consolidation period for some time. And that's what I've been doing over the last 3 or 4 days. I've just been taking small positions in ETH, buying $100, buying $100, buying $100. Just whatever the price range is, it doesn't really matter to me just because I'm planning to hold this in the long term. And I would just say so long as we're continuing this sideways price action and the longer that we continue to do it, I don't see now any reason why we should start getting, you know, let's say even more bearish than we were before. And why now, like, especially if there's a project that you really want to get into, like for me, it is with ETH, um, you can maybe start dollar cost averaging into this now. Um, I do expect that, again, we won't break through 40,000, but at the same time, price action, like let's say if we got some price action where, we get rejected over the next coming days at the 200-day, and we actually go back down, but we get a bounce off the 34,000 price range again, which may coincide with the 21-day moving average or something like that. And then we start to see some more kinds of consolidating price action here before we retest. That would also be really, really healthy to see and really, really good to see. So actually, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that we can actually see kind of continued sideways action over the coming weeks, but like continued like slightly more bullish sideways price action. Whereas before, a lot of this sideways price action just was so bearish, was just so much more bearish. And now that we've had this kind of, if you want to use the word V-shaped kind of bounce back here, maybe signaling at a potential relief rally. I'm not saying that we're going to necessarily go back to the all-time highs, but maybe to that kind of relief rally, very similar to what we saw back in 2017, where we had this kind of relief rally where we went all the way back down here and we kind of got back over here. But this happened over a much longer period, right? Or a much shorter period, rather. So maybe it'd be something like this. Maybe we can see something like that, if that would be really good. But, I would, for just the health of this more optimistic price action, I would really like to see a bit of a pullback now. We've had about 1 week straight of bullish price action. And as we know more than anything, um, sometimes when the price is going too vertically up or also too vertically down, um, it's kind of like it's kind of one of those situations where it's if you're especially if you're talking about vertically up, right, and you're longing it, it's almost too good to be true because everything just can't keep on going up forever, right? You want to see more of like a healthy build up towards higher levels of like 45,000 in Bitcoin or 50,000 in Bitcoin and so forth, right? So let's see what we get. But that's what I would really want to see, kind of like more consolidation. And it's clear that this kind of 40,000, let's say the 38,000, the 200-day, and the 41,000 price range is really coinciding with a lot of key price levels across all different types of coins, right, or projects. Whether it's ETH at the 2.5 level, that's clearly that level. So if we see that breakthrough in Bitcoin, we can definitely hope to then eventually over then the coming weeks after that, get that breakthrough over 2.5 in ETH. And that's what you'd really want to see, right? So um, as we know with a lot of markets, when Bitcoin starts going, right, Bitcoin will break out first, and then typically ETH will follow over, I'm not saying straight away, but maybe over the coming, days or weeks. Before then, a lot of the large caps start to fall, and then the small caps and so forth, so forth. Of course, there's always outliers, but there tends to be this kind of general trend in terms of how things start to get more bullish. So it's really, really positive to see this, especially if you're also big on certain altcoin projects or certain large cap projects. Let's see how we go. Let's see what Bitcoin does at this key kind of price level and price range, right, of like the 200-day and the 41,000 price range. And let's see if we can continue on this rally. Um, if not, let's see where we get that bounce down towards or the pullback towards, and hopefully we can get a nice consolidation, maybe either at 35,000 or 34,000, consolidate there for a bit, and then retest up to the 40,000 kind of dollar price range. Okay. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, give a thumbs up. If you want me to look at any project, leave a comment. I'll look at it and I'll do a video on it. All right. Take care, guys.